Hello there, Internet world. My name is Renee Jones, and this is 2 minutes with TLS, but we're going to go a little bit longer. Again, it'll only be a couple minutes longer. Before I get to the title, which again is one of my favorite titles, I'm going to ask you to subscribe to the channel, to like the video. Hopefully, we can continue to provide you content. The way you can help us do that is by liking the video and subscribing to the channel. The topic today is part two of If You Don't Feed the Warehouse, They'll Eat the Customers. Again, it's one of my favorite titles. I really like the content that I put in that particular article. And some of you guys already know a lot of the stuff that I post videos about are things that I've written in articles. Some people wouldn't know, depending on where the article was published, because sometimes I'll write stuff for the company that we're working with. And it's just to get everybody to understand what the process is, how we're going about affecting change within the organization, and how we're going about improving those processes. So you may have heard some of the titles, you may not have, but either way, if you don't feed the warehouse, they'll eat the customers. And I left off on the last video talking about the importance of not just identifying the warehouse staff are the ones that need to be cut when the economy takes a turn for the worse. I think it's been proven. I think in 34% of the cases, when the staff was cut down because of economic issues, only 34% of the time did any company see an increase in productivity. The process of downsizing and increasing your productivity is greatly exaggerated. If people were overworked and weren't completing the tasks before the economy took a turn for the worse, that does not mean that all of a sudden they're going to find time to do more with less people, or even to do the same amount, complete the same amount of work with fewer people. It's not going to happen. It's your responsibility as the leader of the organization to understand the needs of the organization and to understand where, if you have to, where the head should be cut so that it does not have a damning effect on your supply chain. That's a difficult thing to do because if you're, I think it was Abraham Maslow that said, if the only tool in your toolbox is a hammer, then you're going to approach every problem as if it's a nail. Well, what I mean by that is most of our leaders come up through sales. So that means the only tool in their toolbox is we need to increase sales. They would never think about cutting a salesperson. They'll cut 5 warehouse people before they'll cut 1 salesperson. But that salesperson, if he wasn't selling during good times, he definitely ain't going to be selling during the bad. So it's your responsibility as a leader to identify this individual is not revenue producing. That means that's the individual that may need to be cut and not the guy that's trying to fill the order, load the truck, get the material to the customer. Because when you chop those heads, it becomes very difficult to fill the order, to get the material on the truck, to make sure that the customer receives what they want when they want it. That becomes an even greater task with fewer people. Now, the interesting thing about if you don't feed the warehouse, they'll eat the customers. They're devouring your customers because of the errors that they're making. And those errors are basically compounding every day. And the customer gets so upset, they just go someplace else. I read somewhere, I think it was J.K., I forgot her last name, but she said fairy tales do not tell children that dragons exist. Children already know that dragons exist. Fairy tales tell children that the dragons can be killed. So I'm here to tell you, you already know you have problems within your warehouse. The goal is to address those problems. If you don't, then don't be surprised when this economic downturn seems to be worse within your 4 walls than the other companies that are your competitors that are surrounding you. Maybe they started addressing those problems before the economy took a turn for the worse. So when it did, those problems didn't seem as big because they had already mitigated a lot of them. But it's your responsibility as a leader to start doing something now to make your organization better than it was yesterday. If you're not doing that, then you're not a good leader. Anyway, this was 5 minutes, I guess, with TLS. And I hope you like the content. I hope you subscribe to the channel, press the like button. And remember, this was 5 minutes with TLS. My name is Renee Jones. Visit us on the web at logisticsociety.com, and I'll look forward to seeing you the next time. And this was, if you don't feed the warehouse, they'll eat the customers. Have a great day.